in this episode of the Cinema Goodness Podcast.
That happens in a lot of the fandoms. I know the Star Wars fandom is really bad about minority characters and female characters. Yeah. They are terrible about that kind of stuff because they feel like it should be the way they want it to be. You're not ever going to be able to please those people. Never. Right. No matter what you do. If you're going to change it for the right reason. Improve it. Do less series. Give us more quality and less quantity.
What's going on, family? Welcome to the Cinema Goodness Podcast. It's Kahim and JP back with another episode. How you doing today, JP?
Man, I'm doing good. What about yourself?
Feeling great, man. I'm excited to get back to another episode, man. We're going to be jumping into a couple of trailer reactions. We got Avatar and the Last Airbender and Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. And we're going to be talking also about Loki season finale of season 2. And we're going to go into a bigger discussion about how this is going to affect the MCU and the Kang Dynasty. We've been hearing stories about Jonathan Majors being recasted and all of that stuff. Whole bunch of drama and rumors going around, but we're going to be talking about how we feel about that. Very excited episode. Can't wait to get into it. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn. Let's get into the cinema good. Before we get into the discussion, man, I got to shout out, and I didn't say I was going to talk about this, but I got to shout out DreamWorks, bro. DreamWorks and how they create Trolls movies, man. Me and my babies and my wife went to go see Trolls band together, man. And I feel like they keep getting better and better with the Troll stories, man. The kids love them, and like they do so much publicity and pumping out like the hype around it, man. It's just great. And we went to go see it, and the kids had a great time. They still singing the songs, bro. So I just wanted to say that real quick. DreamWorks, y'all do a phenomenal job with the Trolls movies, man. So shout out to y'all for that. Have you seen any of the Trolls movies?
Say again?
Have you saw any of the Trolls movies?
No, I haven't actually.
Man, well, we talk about this, you know, like a lot of people judge like animation, like storylines, because it's not serious, man. But they was covering some heavy topics in Trolls, man. And yeah, I just wanted to say that because I don't think that we could really gonna talk about like the Trolls like that. But I really enjoyed all of them, and I think DreamWorks they just do an amazing job, man. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out real quick before we really go into it, bro.
I think that I may not have seen the Trolls movies, but
yeah,
I think that some of those animated films have some of the strongest writing. I think they really have upped the writing, and I think we see a lot of examples of that in animated films. So
yeah, it's really good, man, really good. But that's not why we here, right? That's not why we're here. Right? Let's get into this trailer reaction of Avatar and the Last Airbender.
Time is a funny thing. The past, the future, it all gets mixed up.
Hey.
There's only one way to keep it straight. Always remember who you are.
Very interesting.
Leave it to Netflix, man. They gonna redeem a story, bro. they gonna do it. M. Night Shyamalan, sir. I don't know if anybody remembers the debacle that was Avatar: Last Airbender that M. Night Shyamalan did. It was like back in like 2010, maybe 2000, like somewhere in there, man. But it was horrible, bro. Like, and again, I don't like calling movies trash, right? But that one wasn't it, bro. Netflix, they redoing it. Avatar: Last Airbender is a famous cartoon series from Nickelodeon, man. It started back early 2000s, man, and it became a phenomenon back then, bro. The Last Airbender. If y'all remember the story, like a kid, he was supposed to be the bender of air, and he had the ability to control all the elements, and he was the Avatar, the one that could bring peace to the world. So that's kind of like what the story's about, and it did really well in the animation arena. But when M. Night Shyamalan did it and tried to turn it into live action, he did what he did best. You know, he makes it his own, and he didn't do well. And a lot of people, I think
you should have said the word that you were almost about to say.
Yeah, no, man, I'm trying to be PC, man.
Trying to keep it PG-13.
Yeah, you know, it didn't do well, man. And I think a lot of people were scared to tackle that again because it did so well in animation. They didn't want to tackle it, but Netflix, I think they're gonna do an awesome job. The casting looks great. Avatar, he actually looks like Aang, Appa, the monster that he flies on, Katara. All of the cast members, they're doing a hell of a job. I'm excited for this, man. I got all the DVDs for the animated series. So yeah, I'm lit. I'm hyped about it.
Now, tell me, do the kids ever watch it?
No, the kids. I think it's a little bit more, not adult audience, but a little bit more involved than they would like. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a little bit too mature for them. But when they get a little older, I might let them watch it. That might be something that we could do.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm seeing like some hints of the MCU, the 10 Rings movie. Shang-Chi, and I'm getting that feel from this.
Yeah.
I'm also getting in some of those scenes like a Mortal Kombat movie. A little bit of those vibes in there as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's good. I'm excited to see it as well. I have to say I wasn't really big into the animated series, but I think if you know how to do an adaptation and you get it right, you can still hit it out of the park. All you have to say is M. Night Shyamalan, and I know what happened.
Yeah,
I know what happened. You don't have to say anything else. I got you. Yeah. He probably started off really good and like took a left turn somewhere, and it just went weird. Unfortunately, some of his films took those turns. But you know, I think that's part of creativity. Sometimes you take a wrong turn. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And guess what? Both of these two that we're looking at today, they are both being done by Netflix.
Netflix don't play around, man. They do well. Is this one an adaptation too? The next one?
No, it is not. It is not. It is actually an original script from Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder. All right.
Yeah.
I love Zack Snyder. All right. So this is Rebel Moon, Part 1, A Child of Fire.
Okay.
When I found you in the wreckage of that ship, I considered leaving you. I was afraid you could bring trouble to us.
Yeah, that's right all over.
What do you think they want?
Everything. just farmers. We're not a threat. They won't just kill us, will they?
You're delusional. You think those soldiers will show them mercy? Stop. We're gonna have to fight. I am a child of war. Find warriors to fight with us.
We might stand a chance.
We're searching for soldiers for a fight against the Mother World.
I could help you. For a small fee, obviously. You may want to hold on.
I'm here to make you an offer. To give you a chance at redemption.
We are beyond redemption.
What about revenge? This isn't just pursuit of revolution.
I have found her. The most wanted fugitive in the known universe.
It's a new age for the universe.
Looks epic, man.
Yeah.
It looks
Yeah.
epic.
This one is, I mean, it looks like crazy world building. I mean, I'm excited about this. And it wasn't even on my radar. And I was like, okay, I think he might be hitting on something. I'm not a big fan of Zack Snyder. It's okay. I think he's real high on himself. But I think he might be in his bag on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I like his world building, like you said, but he has this thing, like you can see it through his movies, like 300, Man of Steel, even in the color palette. You know what I mean? Like It's just real, like dark and dim and like
gritty,
grungy, gritty. Yeah, all of that, man.
His signature. That's his signature.
Yeah, I love his style. But you say he's big on himself. But yeah, he does a lot of good world building. I remember the main character from somewhere, but I can't put my finger on it.
I don't remember the movie either, but I've seen her before. There's actually quite a few characters, like actors that have been in other sci-fi franchises. You saw Jaimin Hansu, right? He was bald-headed. It was like his beard was almost in locks.
Yeah. Give us free. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Homicide. Exactly.
Yeah. So this girl Sophia, I remember her from Kingsman.
Okay.
If you've seen Kingsman, she had the sword feet. She had the sword legs with the poison tips.
That's exactly who she was from Kingsman. You're right. She was good in that too.
Yeah. And Samuel L. Jackson had that lisp.
Exactly. That was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah. Right. But yeah, she's a great actress, man. Yes, I think she's gonna do really well. Is this a series or oh no, it's a movie. You said part 2 is coming out sometime next year.
Yes. 2 parts. And the first part is coming out in December. And then we'll get the next part next year. Zack Snyder he doesn't edit down. Because like when he redid the Justice League movie, it ballooned to like 3 hours, 4 hours. So they decided to break the movie in half. The crazy thing, when I first saw this, Because I was thinking, okay, well, was this, based on a book? Where did this come from? This is actually original. It's original work. It's not based on anything. But he initially pitched this to Lucasfilm and Disney as a part of the Star Wars universe. And he pitched it to them, but his things were they have to be original characters. And it has to be rated R. And Disney and Lucasfilm turned it down.
Yeah. They don't do rated R stuff, man.
And this is, but they're taking some properties in that direction now. But I think, according to the article I saw in Variety, when he first initially pitched it, this was shortly after Disney had taken over. In the beginning, they were very hardline, no rated R. But, since then, we've had both of Ryan Reynolds' movies have been rated R.
Oh, Deadpool, yeah.
Deadpool. So they're allowing some of it. And I think as we continue, we're going to see a few more entries. If they do Blade right, that should be a rated R movie too. If Blade comes and it's PG-13 or something like that, I'm already going to be side-eyeing it because Blade has always been rated R. So ultimately, they turned it down anyway. And ultimately, he came to the understanding that was probably the best thing because, what they ended up doing with the Star Wars universe, just, those last movies were terrible. They've really been deadpan because of the direction they chose to go in. So I think probably will be in a better position having, kept it as a separate project. So it can be its own thing. It can truly be original.
A lot of times when you get on them big platforms, not big platforms, but like the overhead, they change up so much stuff. It's no longer the original story, man. So just like we talked about with Tommy at the Emmy a few videos ago, you know what I'm saying? A few episodes ago. We were talking about maintaining creative control, and this is just another example of one time you may get a no, it may not be the right one, might not be the right place for you, but eventually, if it's meant to be out in the world, you'll find out the audience and the place is supposed to support what you're gonna do, man. And I'm excited for him, man. I think it's gonna be great. Shout out to Netflix, man. Always love them and the stuff that they put out. People was mad about them charging extra for them fees, man. But this is why, so they could create their own content, man.
And let me tell you something. Because we consume this content. There is so little actual, genuinely creative and original content. So much is being based on something. And I'm not knocking that. I'm saying that because, this is something we've talked about before. Having really, truly original content is important because if everything is based on something else, that means you're absolutely cutting out, new creators and new stories. So I think it's a plus. Create these new worlds so we can have new characters to talk about. Because to me, that's what makes people more interested.
Right. Exactly, man. Yes, sir. So this is coming out, Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire comes out December 22nd on Netflix. So keep your eye out for that.
Right before Christmas. That's Christmas weekend. I think that's that Friday before Christmas.
So we're moving on to Loki season 2, season finale. Now, y'all watched our previous episode. Josh, you made a really great prediction, man. You made a really great prediction. And when I say it, you're going to remember what I said, what you said. You said that Loki is going to go back and try to stop Sylvie from killing He Who Remains. That was your prediction for the season finale. And he did it. he tried hard.
He tried. Him tried hard.
He tried so hard.
Tank. He tried. I mean, literally over and over and over.
Man, he tried everything
to no avail.
Yeah, the season finale was like this big thing with Loki was trying to figure out how to, I guess, bring his friends back, and save the temporal loom from being destroyed. So that's kind of like the whole thing. Like, and he's trying to figure out the best way to go about it, save everybody, save the TVA, save the branches in the timeline. So he goes back over and over and over again and try to solve this problem. And like we said, to no avail, man. He was having a whole bunch of trouble.
It kind of becomes which came first, the chicken or the egg, because he's trying to figure out at what point do I need to go back to change the outcome.
Right.
And so he's, in the penultimate episode, we see him trying to go back to try to fix the machine. Well, it turns out that ain't never gonna work no how. So now it becomes, okay, where can I go back to try to stave off this oncoming problem? And I think that's where, and it dovetails right back into, how his arc, because everything that he does in the finale is the antithesis of what we knew Loki to be originally, because he was this very selfish person who only cared about what he wanted and what he believed he should be. He proclaimed from us first getting to know him way back, in the Thor movies, that, he was burdened with glorious purpose and destined to be the king. And all of that comes right back in to the finale, but in a different way, which makes it, hugely impactful to who he is as a person and in the MCU as an overall. So, man, I think that the finale was great. It was... We already have said, that Loki is a bright point in the MCU where they are now, but I think they really, really, really did a great job bringing that story home.
Yeah, it was that whole thing about burden with glorious purpose, man. And like when you first hear that phrase, it's just like, okay, burden with glorious purpose. Like it kind of contradicts itself. Dude, like that's this whole thing. He just been like a big contradiction, but in this season finale, we really get a chance to see what that really means for Loki. And I think the best part of the whole thing, not the ending when we find out that Loki figures out the way to to solve the problem. It's the conversation that he has. Well, for me, it's that conversation that he has with Mobius. Like when he finally gets to that conclusion. That man, no matter really what I do, like I have to make a bigger sacrifice, right? And that big sacrifice becomes like the question mark, because he goes through that whole thing of him trying to stop Sylvie from killing He Who Remains, and he keeps failing over and over again, and he talks to Mobius and really comes to the conclusion, like, man, no matter which way I go, like I'm gonna lose something. Like I'm gonna have to give up something. And like that light switch comes on, and I think that's, even though Loki has been going through like transformative moments, that was kind of like the biggest one for him, because he realized that, okay, it's not anything that I do it's no longer about me anymore. Like even if I want to save Sylvie's life, even if I want to, save Mobius and all of them, is past all of that. It's past my immediate circle. It's about everybody. And he says, I finally figured out the type of king that I want to be for my people, basically, And I was just like, man, that was just like a heavy bomb, bro. I was just like, bro, what the hell? What is he about to do right now? Yeah, I knew that he could go out there and not be hurt by the loom and by the radiation, man. But once it gets to that point, man, I was just like, man, it was so satisfying. But what was your favorite part of the season finale, man?
I think the build-up that whole scene where I don't remember the line exactly, but someone said something about replacing something, and you could see it in Loki's eye in that dialogue when he said replaced, and that was like the key. I can, in his mind, I can replace he who remains, essentially. And then because everything had been building up to that point, when he decides to go out and then he locks them, they're wondering what on earth is he doing? You know, he locks them out, and that whole sequence right there was, man, it was great because, like you said, I had been saying in my mind from the very beginning, why didn't they send Loki out? Because I know that temporal radiation would never hurt Loki. But it was part of, I mean, it's ultimately, I think, part of his final, it's like his final act or his final sacrifice, because he's going out there and knowing that what he is about to do is going to change everything about who he is. It's going to change everything about his future, and the futures of everyone in the universe, even in the multiverse. So knowing that, when he does this, there's no undoing it. He's essentially giving himself up for everyone else. So that scene is really powerful. Him going out there, and I think when I was watching it the first time, I was like, okay, so everything explodes. We see the spaghetti strings we've been seeing for several episodes, and I'm like, well, what is he gonna do? And just trying to see how they visualize it. And then he starts stepping on them stairs that aren't there. I'm like, what? That was great. That was great, because essentially he's like, if I am who I say I am, I have the power to do this. And I'm going to actually take that power and do something finally. So that was awesome. That was great.
It was great. I'm just really blown away by the character arc, man. Just like, because we talked about this last time as well. Like, we've seen so much of Loki, and it's just been him really just trying to conquer and and rule over something that's not really meant to be his anyway, to this final point to where it's like, man, now I know what I'm really supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? And just watching him go through that, bro, it's dope, man. So I'm trying to think, because I've been doing like a little research about this tree, right? This tree that I guess he formed with the timelines. I guess like the Yggdrasil. Yeah, man. So I guess it's like it's never ending, because the whole thing was they couldn't find a way to manage an infinite number of growing timelines, right? So because I guess Loki, he learned how to enchant things, right? So he enchanted the timelines to weave together in this tree, and I was just like, bro, that is just so clever. Like, I never even thought about that. I never seen it in like the comics or anywhere on that, and I was just like, man, it was just really clever. I felt bad for Loki, you know what I'm saying? It's like, because like, where does this really leave him now? And then knowing all the stuff that I read about them trying to get him back to Thor, and he's a better person, and all of this stuff, like, I'm trying to figure out really what's next for Loki, and I guess Kang, you know what I'm saying? And where is it all going to go?
Well, he's definitely making a big sacrifice, because with him literally pulling the timelines and forming the Yggdrasil, and him using essentially his power from the fortress at the end of time to weave those timelines together, it's a sacrifice, because if he leaves that post, then the timelines go crazy, and and the whole multiverse is impacted. Now, my understanding is there's no leaving. He has to stay there to hold it together. And him knowing that, this is the rest of my life, because essentially I'm using my powers to bring this thing together and hold it together. And the Yggdrasil is, I think that's a clever way, because they didn't necessarily have to go there, but that's a connection back to the Norse mythology, which is what Asgard is based off of. So it makes sense that would be something he's familiar with, because he's lived as an Asgardian for so long. And I think it represents life.
Yeah. Will he not be able to leave? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, how are they gonna get him from there? Because that's what I'm saying. From what I've been reading, and it's theories, but I know that I feel like Loki's gonna play a major role in the Kang Dynasty, like defeating Kang in the Kang Dynasty, because from what we've seen so far, he has the most experience with He Who Remains, with Tom, and how to manipulate it, and all of this stuff. I don't know how they're gonna frame that, because it looks like he won't be able to leave unless he figures out a way to enchant it to where it can operate on its own. So that's kind of where my hang up is. It's like, okay, y'all kind of painted Loki into a corner. Now how y'all gonna get him out of that? I don't know. That's just kind of one of them things. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah. And I don't know. I think I because there were questions online as to whether there would be a third season of Loki, and the writers and directors have already answered no. When they envisioned Loki, it was two halves of the same story was how they described it. And the way they described it is, this is the ending of the Loki story. So my question is, because like you say, how does this play into the larger MCU? Are they going to just have him in the, just allow us to know in the background that he's holding all of the different timelines together? Or is he actually going to be able to impact the timelines, in the future of the MCU? Those questions we don't have answers to just yet. But I would think that if the folks who wrote it are saying, this is the conclusion of the Loki story, it's almost as if they're saying he's done. Like, this is the end for Loki. And I'm like, well, how's that possible? So there's questions, but this brings us to, the bigger part of our conversation today, which is, how does the finale of Loki, how does it impact the remainder of the MCU? And I've been reading a lot too, just trying to understand. Kevin Feige and a lot of the stakeholders within Marvel had a retreat, and they were trying to deal with everything going on with Jonathan Majors, and not just him, but with this phase of the MCU having, had some poor ratings in some of the outings, and how they were trying to navigate this. Now, of course, they aren't going to tell us much. They're only going to give us a little bit. But the thing for me is, and this is just me with my own opinion right now, we don't know what the outcome of Jonathan Majors' legal troubles will be. And if you watch this, or you're into the MCU or sci-fi, you have heard about what's going on with Jonathan Majors. No need for us to recap that, but I know his trial is coming up in December, I believe. So before the end of 2023, we will know, what has happened, and what will be, the result of it. But I'm thinking that, well, first of all, let me say this. The writers also debunked this rumor that they changed the ending of Loki because of his legal battles, and they've confirmed that that's not true, because the ending of Loki was written months and months ago, before they even knew any of this, which is really crazy. Before they knew any of this, how, what would happen with Jonathan Majors. So, let's debunk that from the beginning. Nothing was changed. There's no alternate ending. They've already confirmed that. Whatever we saw was what they intended for us to see, regardless of his situation. Now, I feel like they left it very open-ended, because if you remember, they took us all the way back to Victor Timely. Do you remember that scene? As a kid, where Ravonna and Miss Minutes were supposed to give him the TVA manual.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
And they didn't give him the manual.
Yeah.
So that was part of the trying to undo Kang. And, undo He Who Remains by making sure that Victor Timely did not get the book. Now, is that going to stop Kang? No, I don't believe so.
No.
And you know what you know about Kang, but I don't think it will stop him. But I think they open-ended on purpose.
Yeah, and then I'm still going back to the Quantumania outtake, when it was a whole council, it was a whole group of Kangs, bro. It wasn't just one from one dimension. It was a stadium full of them. So he's out there, of course, and like, I'm torn, man, because I believe that, people are responsible. However the thing goes with Jonathan Majors, if he's guilty, he's guilty. And if he's innocent, this whole thing is kind of messing with his career, and it's a sad situation. But I feel like as a studio, it's kind of, they're in a bad situation, because it's like, okay, how we put all our eggs in this one basket, we kind of supporting this guy. How do we move forward if, in fact, that, he's guilty, or what are we going to do, basically? You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of torn about that part. I just don't want to see them make a decision that's going to mess up their production part. You know what I'm saying? Going with how Jonathan Majors' view in society or whatever, how that's going to change their whole story structure. Because now they're talking about Doom. It seems like they kind of fishing for another way out, just in case this thing with Jonathan Majors blows up. It's a scary situation for them, man, for Marvel, because they put a lot of their bank into the actor and how much popularity they have and how they're delivering to bring all of this stuff together in their media packaging. And it's a real world situation that they find themselves in right now. I just don't want them to do nothing that's gonna mess them up, So I know they looking at all of this stuff, really trying to figure it out. And I'm supporting him. I hope everything work out. But if they end up dropping Kang, man, a lot of their groundwork is going to be kind of like destroyed, especially with like Ant-Man and like Loki. But Marvel always does a great thing with like recasting. If they got to recast somebody, they're going to find it.
Except Black Panther.
Except Black Panther, man. they didn't do it, man.
Don't get me started, because you know how I feel. Y'all know how I feel about it.
Yeah. But it's tough, man. I think they could work it out. I know that if they do have to recast Kang, they will. But Jonathan Majors, he's been doing such a great job. It'd be a shame to see anybody else.
You cannot replace Jonathan Majors acting wise. His ability to morph from one to be the same person, but literally morph from character to character, it's unparalleled. Like, the only person that I could think of that could do it is maybe like John Boyega. And I even hate to go there because I feel like at this point with what we know, no one should be thinking like this, but I know that Marvel has to because they're building so far into the future, they have to be thinking like this. I hate to be replacing one black actor with another when you have this actor that no one has proven anything, that he's done anything wrong. Now, if that changes, it changes. And then, we deal with the consequences. But even if that were the case, you can just looking at his portrayal of Victor Timely versus He Who Remains, and then him mocking as He Who Remains in the last episode when he was mocking Victor Timely's stutter. That was crazy. I'm like, dude, you're mocking your portrayal of this other guy, but it was you.
Yeah, man. It's masterful, man. Really, it is. Like, I don't know how much of this stuff they're writing in there, or if he's just taking it and flipping it on his own. You know what I'm saying? I wonder how much of that is influenced by him and not. It's really been enjoyable to watch. So,
very.
I don't know, man. No.
Let me tell you this. This is what I definitely think it's open-ended, so that they have the option to go in multiple directions. But if they stick to what they have already laid out, the very fact that He Who Remains was killed means that the other variants of Kang will rise up. Even if they have hindered Victor Timely, they may have made him null and void by not giving him that information. But that's only one variant. So ultimately, that stadium full of Kangs, that's got to happen. That means the multiversal war has to happen too, because you don't have just one prime timeline anymore. You have this Yggdrasil tree of timelines that are being woven together. And because you have all of those different timelines, that is what will eventually give rise to all of these very powerful variants of Kang who eventually are going to want to rule, all of the multiverse. And they will be powerful enough in their own right in each different universe to do so. So that can come regardless of what happens with Jonathan Majors. They can still go in that direction. But I think keeping your options open for storytelling, because you have so many big things coming up. You've got, you have the mutants that are coming into the MCU. You're about to bring in Fantastic Four into the MCU. They really have some powerful things that can, if they needed to de-emphasize Kang, they have the IP to do it. They've got the stories, and they can bring it forward. Now, I mean, I'm not going in the direction of Doom, and they can retcon the character, but Doom is, to me, very specific to the Fantastic Four timeline, and it doesn't seem like it would be a big enough villain, but it all depends on how they present him, because that's been the hallmark of the MCU, taking lesser known characters and making them bigger characters than they originally were. So it's possible. But either way they go, you're never going to get anyone that can actually do what Jonathan Majors can do. John Boyega is as close as that I can just think of off the top of mind, because him doing we talked about this when we talked about They Clone Tyrone. If you have not seen They Clone Tyrone, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I mean, so in that movie, him going between Fontaine and then different versions, you know what I just realized? This is hitting me as I'm talking. In that movie, it's almost as if there's a multiverse of Fontaines
Yeah.
Tyrone's. That just hit me like just now. Because they're all different in different areas, but they're all like different people.
Yeah.
And he plays them different.
Yeah, he did. He did. He did a great job in that. If y'all haven't watched that, you definitely need to.
Get your life together, please.
Yeah, get it together, man. I was wondering, I was watching Loki, man. I was wondering if he's like the Watcher now. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good question.
Because I remember I was watching What If, the cartoon series What If, and they had the Watcher in there. Like he could watch, he could tell the stories, but he couldn't interfere. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder if they're making Loki more like that now. He could watch, he could see what's going on, but he can't interfere. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. Something I saw, and I don't know, they haven't confirmed this yet, but essentially, because he's holding all of the timelines, he can actually see them.
Yeah.
So that may be true. That may be true.
Yeah, because he was talking to He Who Remains, and he was like, I've been sitting here by myself for an eternity. You know what I'm saying? And this has been the best way to manage it. So it's so many different things that could happen. Like Loki could kind of see that He Who Remains was really telling the truth. Like he saw all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It could kind of. So it's like you said, the open-ended thing is really well done. Even though they said that they closed the chapter on Loki, it's still so many possibilities of what could happen. You know, because of this, man. And I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully everything works out with Jonathan Majors, or DC could be happening tomorrow. Marvel could be happening. Like what happened to DC could be happening to Marvel, basically, where they be forced to like change their storylines so much that it kind of, you know, sets them back a little bit. Hopefully not. Like you said, like they got a whole bunch of IP, whole bunch of different ways they could do it. But I know as a writer, when you get something in your head, bro, and it don't go that way, it messes with you. So hopefully everything works out, man.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What is your preference? Do you feel like they should continue building and go towards the Kang Dynasty, or should they cut their losses and go in a different direction, regardless of what happens with the results of Jonathan Majors' trial?
Okay, so regardless of what happens, me personally, I just feel like they should just keep going with the Kang Dynasty storyline. Because there's so much groundwork that has been laid, and it's a tough decision, man, because I feel like they're going to be forced to find somebody that can compete with what Jonathan Majors has done. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle if they choose to keep going, if they recast him. You know, that's going to be the biggest hurdle, is trying to find somebody that match what he's done on screen. And I think that's probably what happened with Black Panther, really, you know, and T'Challa. How can we find somebody that matches what Chadwick brought to the character? So, yeah, it's a tough pill, but me personally, I would try to go that route. Cutting my losses, it's just like, man, I feel like that's a big overhaul. And I won't want to put myself in that position. So I'm gonna go with the lesser of two evils. I feel like it just keep going. How about you though?
Well, you know, I feel like you feel about it. But I will say this, when I'm thinking about this, and then the reason I say regardless of what happens with Jonathan Majors' trial is this. That's not the only opposition that they're facing. Prime example, the Marvels just came out, and before the movie ever could come out, it has had horribly bad press. People have been dogging the movie from its inception without having seen anything. And couple that with a lot of the other things in this phase that have not hit on the level of where they're used to hitting. That's kind of where my mind is going, because I'm thinking, yes, we have this Jonathan Majors issue, but we have this whole other group of issues too. And where we've had some declining audience satisfaction with what we put out. So maybe you roll it all up in a ball and say, let's just do a soft reboot and go in another direction. So I kind of trying to put myself in the minds of the people who are thinking about these decisions, because I know as much as we love movie making and love these characters and how they're being portrayed, when it comes down to it, the people who are making this, it's about money to them.
Yeah.
So I know that's kind of, I'm trying to put myself in that frame of thinking on it as well. My opinion is keep going.
Yeah.
But what I would say is, if you want it to be on the level of what you had before, you have to have actors putting in the performances. You must have the writing that allows them to achieve those performances, because Loki is good because of how well it's written and how well Tom Hiddleston is acting it.
Yeah.
That's point blank, period. If it was a lesser actor or a poorer script, we wouldn't be having these conversations, because, it would be more negative. So having those Chadwick Bosemans, having, Michael B. Jordan playing those roles and really knocking it out of the park, what they did with Wanda, all of those things, those best series that they've had, what we saw with Thanos and Endgame, those, you can't, the only way to achieve that again is that you have to have writing and acting back on that level. And I think that's probably been the area where they've struggled the most in this phase, because some of the projects, they were obviously rushed. The writing wasn't on the same level as, you could tell, like, going from one Disney Plus series to the next one, it's like, well, man, Loki season 1 was great, and then we get Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's just not as good. Even though I kind of like that one. So I think that you may end up with a little bit of a soft reboot. My thing is, if you're going to do it because of that, then you need to do it for the right reasons and say, okay, we're going to make sure that every writer that we put on a project is going to bring Loki level quality. If that's what we're going to do, then I'm in favor of making the change, only because of that. And I'm saying this regardless of what's going on with Jonathan Majors. If you're going to do that because you want to make sure that you have the writing in place to be more solid, and you need actors playing the roles to bring them back to that prominence that we saw in some of the best series and the best movies in the MCU. I don't think they should just be doing it because of what's going on, with this one thing. I think if they're going to do it, they should be more thoughtful about it. Otherwise, stick with your original plan. Don't change the plan. Stick with what you have. Because I think the people hating on, like, the Marvels movie, they're just hating on it because it's the thing to do. Yeah. Because most of the people who've seen the movie have said it's good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty good. I haven't watched it yet. I've heard that. Like the people, what I've heard from the people who watch it, like you said, they said it's pretty good. So a lot, we talked about this as well. Everybody gonna have their different opinions about it, even because it's 3 women lead actors. You know what I'm saying? And that's really, to be honest, like that's really what the issue is. We got 3 main women actors, and they're all 3 different races, all three, like different age gaps and genders, and you know, it's just different. And I think people don't like different, and you know, it's sad on that part. And I agree with you. If they do decide to do like a soft reboot or redo this phase, let it be for the right reasons, man. Not just because of what's going on with Kang, but y'all want to actually write better stories, or y'all feel like y'all can actually do that in a way that makes sense. Do it for that, man. Not to replace Jonathan Majors, man. Because then it won't be authentic. You know, it won't be authentic, and you'll be able to tell we did it just for that. You know,
Exactly. And then you will still have the same problem because if we're being honest, Jonathan Majors is one of the high points of the last few phases. In the writing and the acting, everything we've seen him in, minus maybe the ending of Quantumania. I didn't really like the way it ended that much.
Yeah.
But beyond that, if you do the reboot because of Jonathan Majors and not because of the other problems, you're going to have the same problem after you don't have Jonathan Majors' problem no more.
Yeah.
You're going to have the same problem. And then the people who are hating just because they don't want to see a powerful female character, you are not going to be able to please those people no matter what you do. The craziest thing about that is that happens in a lot of the fandoms. I know the Star Wars fandom is really bad about minority characters and female characters. They are terrible about that kind of stuff because they feel like it should be the way they want it to be. You're not ever going to be able to please those people. Never. No matter what you do. If you're going to change it for the right reason. Improve it. Do less series. Give us more quality and less quantity. Yeah. Because who asked Disney to have a series come out every month? A new series.
Yeah, that's Disney trying to keep up with their price, they overhead. You know, they trying to keep up with their overhead, so they're gonna keep pumping out movies. I don't know what it really else is. I think the Kang Dynasty, man, that's just been something that, like, from when they started this phase, that's been like the high point, like the appealing part of it. Like, they want that Avengers level threat, you know what I'm saying? And if they don't have it and they gonna try to find something to put in Kang's place, that's gonna be tough, man.
And we actually have not even seen Kang the Conqueror on the Avengers level threat level yet.
Right. We
have only seen him in the middling part of his power. We have not seen him as powerful as he actually becomes, because he's one of the characters that's beaten the Avengers probably more times than anyone.
Right.
Because of his ability to manipulate time.
Yeah, and that's the appealing part of it. Like, that's the appealing thing, you know? So,
yeah.
I was going to say the director, Destin Daniel Creighton. Daniel Creighton, I think that's his name. He was going to be the director for Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, but he dropped out. So he's not going to be directing that anymore. I guess they're still trying to figure out how to put that whole thing together. And he was the director for Ant-Man and Quantumania. Mm-hmm. And I think Loki as well. The first or the second season. But now he dropped out to be the director for Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. So they're going to have to find a new director and all of that stuff. So it's a whole bunch of different stuff that's coming out of this uncertainty with Kang. And so
I'm not actually mad about that. Quantumania was a middling movie. Mm-hmm. I don't think he was. If he was going to bring what he did in Quantumania to that movie, then it probably is a good thing that he's not on it. Because if they really want to bring Kang to a Thanos level threat, They need better. They need the people who were involved with writing Loki to be doing the rest of that.
They need the Russo brothers now.
They're busy.
But yeah, it's a whole bunch of rumors, man. Whole bunch of uncertainty right now. And I never thought it would be like this for Marvel, bro. I was used to it with DC, but I didn't know it was gonna be like this for Marvel, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think they'll figure it out though. I don't honestly think they'll ever really get as far down as DC is. Because DC, I don't think they have they put out a critically acclaimed by the audience movie in their DCU or DCEU. I think the only ones that were the most critically acclaimed are the ones that they essentially have scrapped the DCU, which is like Man of Steel, those early ones.
Yeah.
And the most recent ones just haven't hit the way they need to hit. So I don't think that they're at the level of the MCU is anywhere near the DCU just yet. I think that they can salvage it.
Yeah, it's still bright for them.
The DCU could do all animated movies the rest of their existence, and they would probably, to me, do better than they're doing now. Because their animated stuff is great. Yeah. Their animated movies are really good.
Yeah, true story. Yeah, they are. They do really well.
The best iteration of the Justice League is animated.
True. Yeah, I always enjoy them. I like the Young Superman movies. I like when they do like the crossovers. And I love the Batman animations. Like they kill Batman every time. Avengers Kang Dynasty is scheduled to arrive in theaters May 1st, 2026. And Avengers Secret Wars on the following year, May 7th, 2027. So they got time, man. To get their life together, figure out what they're gonna do. And like you said, I feel like Marvel got it in the bag. It's gonna take them a little while to see what's going on around them. They'll work it out.
Oh yeah.
Yep. All right, anything else, man?
No. Are you planning on seeing the Marvels sometime this week or maybe this is
Thanksgiving.
We got the holidays coming up. I'm tripping.
The holidays, man.
So next weekend is gonna be real busy.
Yeah, it is. I think it's gonna be cool though. We definitely gotta watch the Marvels though.
Yeah, we need to review it. Especially because it's been so deadpan. And during the strike, they were not able to promote it. So I think that also hurt it. So I want us to definitely review that one.
Yeah. And the strike is over. Now that you said that.
The strike is over.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that a little more in the next episode or something.
Now wait a minute. Has the SAG-AFTRA, have they actually signed up on it yet?
I think so. I think they have, man. I think it's been they closed it like 2 weeks ago. Like last week or 2 weeks.
We'll see, because I was researching this. Fran Drescher from The Nanny. She's the actual president of SAG-AFTRA. So when she made the announcement that they had come to an agreement, they still have to send it to the members, and the members of SAG-AFTRA then have to vote. So although they have said the strike is over, if the members voted down what they agreed to, then the strike ain't over.
The strike ain't over. Oh.
Because if they vote no on the agreement, because the reality is they will probably vote yes, because people just vote yes because they want to get back to work.
Yeah.
But if it were to happen that they were to vote no, that means there's no agreement.
Man. Well, we gonna keep our eyes and ears peeled for that, man, because it's a big important thing. You see what happens when you don't got no actors, man. It's not pretty.
Yeah,
not pretty, man. But yeah, that's it, man. We out of here. Let us know how y'all feeling about Loki and all of that stuff, man. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next time. You have a light that is out of this world. Let it shine to be the richness that this world deserves. Much love, family. Be enriched.
peace.